What's up everybody, Brody here with Sew Yeah Quilting. Welcome back to our channel. Today in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this all of the above quilt. Now the reason we named it the all of the above quilt is because you have so many different techniques and different smaller blocks that are going into making the larger quilt. You have an Irish chain here, you have a 4-patch, you have half square triangles and a pinwheel, and all of the above. Now one cool thing that we're starting to do in these videos is we're going to have kits available for the quilts that we're sewing so you can make the exact quilt that we're going to show in the video. So the quilt that I'm going to be sewing right now, we have a limited number of kits available. If you would like one of those kits, click on the link below that says Project Kit and you'll be able to get one on our website. Now, let's jump into the cutting instructions and get started. So as you can see right here, I've got my fabrics laid out in front of me. You're going to need 10-inch squares. As you can see, I've already got these pre-marked. You're going to need one in your background color and one in your print. You're going to have your print colors of your 2.5-inch strips, a background color of 2.5-inch strips, and also some 4.5-inch squares, which will be this portion of the quilt, okay? So the first thing you need to do is take 2 of your strips, one of your backgrounds and one of your prints, and sew them right sides together, which is gonna make your 4-patch when you cut it up, okay? So I'm gonna do that right now. Alright everybody, so I got my strips sewn together. Open these up just so you can see what they look like. Just pretty simple, 2 strips sewn. Before I go into the cutting of them, I'm going to go ahead and sew my 10-inch squares now, okay? So I've got these already pinned and right sides together, okay? You can see they're marked, typical half square triangles that you're going to make. So I'm going to sew across, try to hold this up so you can see. Sew across on each side of these lines in both directions, and then we'll do the cutting after that, okay? Okay, so I just got to the end of my seam here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my thread, flip the whole thing over, and do the exact same thing on the other side, just like a normal half square triangle, okay? But I'm going to do it twice, vertical and then horizontal. Alright, got to the end again. Again, I'm going to cut my thread, take it, and I'm going to sew the other direction now. Exact same thing that I just did, but the other direction. Okay, now that I've finished the sewing, we're gonna jump right into the cutting. So what you do at this point, you need to cut these across these center lines, okay, to open up the half square triangles, but you also need to cut them across right down the center. So I've lined this up in my lines here. I'm going to use the line on the mat as well as the lines that are marked here just to make sure I'm right in the same spot. I like to cut not on the lines first when I'm doing it like this, because then once you do it, you can just cut straight down the line. You don't have to really measure anything. So I'm gonna set this here. Got it right where it needs to be. I'm gonna cut that. I'm not gonna move any of the fabric. I'm just gonna lift up the ruler. I'm gonna do the same thing right here on this line. I'm gonna just line it up. There we go. Right down the center, like that. Now, at this point, what you're going to do, you're gonna take these, they already have nice lines marked on them, and you're just gonna cut them right in half. So, lay your ruler right down on top of them. Oops. And just cut them right down the middle. This is what's gonna give you your half square triangles that you're gonna use for your pinwheels here. So I'm just gonna finish cutting these, and then we're gonna go to cutting up our little 4 patches. So before we go on, I want to show you a super cool tool that we have that will help you square up your half square triangles before you even open them, before you even iron them, okay? This is called the Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmer. And the way this works, I'll show you on this top camera here. This is just a half square triangle right after I cut it. I haven't done anything to it, okay? These have markings on them that you line up your bottom of your triangle and also your seam. So what I'm gonna do is, these are 4.5 inches, so I'm gonna set this down on here. I'm gonna line it up on here so you kind of see what I'm doing. Just like that. You set down your ruler right on top, okay? You line up your bottom line right here on the bottom of your triangle. Put down a little bit of pressure. Now what you're gonna do is you're just gonna trim the triangle. So I'm gonna take my ruler here, or excuse me, my rotary cutter. I'm gonna cut this off. Same thing on the other side. And then the cool part about this is at this point, what you're going to do, they have little slots right here, that's why it's called the slotted trimmer. You have these slots right here that you can cut off the dog ears basically on your half square triangle. So I'm gonna stick this in like this. I hope you can see this on top. You cut there. Same thing right here. And this is cut off the little corners, and you have a perfectly squared up half square triangle. Just like that, okay? I'm gonna do that to the rest of these here. We're gonna have these linked in the description below, so if you want one of these, they come in sets. If you want one, click on the link below, you'll be able to get it on our website. I really recommend these. Makes squaring up and trimming a whole lot easier, okay? So I'm gonna finish trimming these up, and then we're gonna jump into the cutting of our 4-patch and then putting our block together. Got all my half square triangles trimmed. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to cut down our strip set that we sewed to 2.5 inches, okay? So I have this laid down here. I'm gonna put my ruler down at 2.5. And I'm gonna cut this whole strip up into 2.5 inch rectangles. So just like this, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these down, and we'll be right back in 1 second and we'll start sewing. So now that I have my strip sets cut, what I'm gonna do is take 2 of these little pieces of the strip set. I'm gonna put them together, right sides together, obviously mirroring each other, like this. And I'm gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam. So this is what's gonna give us, here they are, these different blocks right here that'll be the little 4 patches in our quilt. So I'm gonna put these 2 together, sew these. So just like this. I'm gonna open this up. This is what our 4 patch is gonna look like, okay? So now, what I'm gonna do is, I already have some of these pre-made, and I'm gonna show you how this block gets laid out. As you can see, so this right here is the first, I guess it's 4 pieces to 1 big block, but this is the first piece right here. So you need 3 of each one of your individual blocks. So you need 3 half square triangles, you need 3 of your 4 patches, and you need 3 of your background fabrics, okay? In doing that, that'll make up a 1/4 of a block, and you'll put 4 of those together to make your larger block as you see it right here, okay? So I'm gonna lay those out right now on the cutting mat, just so everybody can see what that looks like. Before I start sewing them together, I like to lay them all out just to make sure that everything's gonna line up and we're not gonna make any mistakes. So this is how it's laid out, just like this. So what I'm gonna start doing is sewing each of these squares together and then put together our block. So first 2 have gone together. I'm gonna open them up, set them on my mat. Lay the next one next to it. Do all 3 of them here. So I've got my first little row here done. I'll lay it down, start on my next one. Again, your normal block construction, just right sides together, 1/4 inch seams. And obviously we're gonna have instructions on how to make this quilt in the description below, along with, we have some kits that are available for this, so you can make this exact quilt I'm making now in the description below, okay? So make sure you check those out. Same thing. So I've got my 3 rows done here. Now I'm just gonna lay them right sides together and finish up this block, which will actually be a quarter of the main block we're making. I got my first 2 together here. Open it up. Again, I like to lay it down right next to the block of where I was sewing just to make sure that I didn't flip something upside down or miss something. So I'm gonna lay these right on top of each other. Again, right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam. So I just finished the block here. I'm gonna iron this open, and then we are going to put it together with the other blocks and make our larger blocks. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take one of my blocks, and you can see I have a couple other blocks made right here on the top view. I'm gonna take 2 of these and sew them together. When I do, they turn out like this. So I'm gonna take these and sew them together, and then take these and sew them to this one right here, okay? So I just got my first block done here. Open it up so everybody can see it. So here it is. Obviously we gotta iron it out and everything, but here's the first block. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put together a couple of blocks into a row. So as you can see here, there are 3 blocks per row, and this right here has 3 rows in length, so it's basically a giant square. So I'm gonna put together a couple more blocks. I'll be right back. So I have 2 of my blocks together just like this. I'm gonna take my 3rd block, lay it down right sides together. So a 1/4 inch seam, that'll be the first big row, and I'm gonna put my 2 rows together, actually my 3 rows together. Okay everyone, so I just finished my last seam here, putting together all of my rows. Let me show you how this turned out. Turned out awesome, just the way we wanted it. I'm gonna take this across the building to our in-store long armor to have it finished. As always, we're gonna put instructions on how to make this quilt in the description below. Please give our videos a like, give it a share, subscribe to our channel, and click the little bell that'll give you notifications when we put out new videos. As always, thank you for watching. My name's Brody, teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you next week here at Sew Yeah Quilting.